like trees, all right? Philodendron, lover of trees. Basically kill your plant, and I don't want dead plants. Even if they're not a plant parent, they could probably take care of these. Hello friends, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Emma, and today we're going to be talking about these. This is a Philodendron Hederaceum. They are also known as Philodendron scandens. This one specifically is a Brazil because of its green leaves with a yellow stripe. I think it's kind of like the Brazil flag, but it's spelled Brazil with an S, not Brazil with a Z. But there are a few different types of Philodendron Hederaceum. I also have the typical heartleaf philodendron, which is known for its like nice green, super heart-shaped leaves. I've got the lemon lime variety, which is kind of like heartleaf, but I think the leaves are a bit smaller and they're more of like a neon greeny yellow color, which is nice. And then also a Philodendron micans, which has kind of a more velvety leaf texture rather than a leathery leaf texture. So it's a bit more velvety, and they come in this like nice deep dark green with orange kind of backs. These types of philodendrons are a super duper low maintenance variety. They're really easy to care for, and they grow really nice striking long kind of vines. You can train them to trail down or get them a moss pole for them to climb up. And if you do the moss pole method, their leaves will probably get a bit bigger because they really like climbing trees. Really quickly, before I go into the specific care, I wanted to talk about philodendrons as a whole, because like there's so many different types of philodendrons, it kind of gets confusing. Today, I'm going to be talking about the Hederaceum variety, which is also referred to as like climbing or vining or trailing or hanging philodendrons, as opposed to upright philodendrons, which is more of like the Shangri-La, Xanadu type of philodendron, where it's kind of like upright from a single point rather than vine like this. The word philodendron itself means tree loving. In nature, philodendrons are very much attached to trees. That is kind of where they base their lives. These ones climb up trees. There are others that kind of attach themselves to branches and stuff like that. They're like trees, all right? Philodendron, lover of trees. Philodendrons are a large genus within the Araceae family, which is just kind of like aroids, I'm pretty sure. Not too familiar with like how families and genii, whatever, work. But there are over 400 species of philodendrons, which is pretty crazy. So that's why I want to say I'm talking about specifically these kind of like viney, heart-shaped leaf philodendrons of the Hederaceum family, because those ones have a specific type of care and other types have a different type of care. So these ones specifically I'm going to be talking about today. So really quickly, before I get into the care, I just want to say if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up down below and comment on other houseplants or houseplanty things you'd like me to talk about in future videos, and subscribe for more. So yeah, let's get into it. I have found in all of my research that people say you should be watering these babies like once the top inch or 2.5 centimeters or so is dry. I personally think that is too often. I like to let the soil of my hanging philodendrons dry out completely before I give them water. Obviously, I don't like them to sit dry for a long time and be underwatered, but I like to let the soil dry out fully. This just helps prevent root rot, because that can basically kill your plant, and I don't want dead plants. So I like to let mine dry out a little bit more than some say, but others do the same. So like, I'm not the only one. In spring and summer, I say I probably water about once a week, and in autumn and winter, it probably goes down to maybe every 2.5 weeks or so. But with these, I do find it's really important to not go off a time schedule with these and really go for how dry the soil is, because if the soil is still moist, you do not want to be giving them more water. Wilted leaves can be a sign of over or under watering. Like many plants, when they are thirsty, they will wilt a little bit. I think my typical heartleaf philodendron is a little bit dry right now. You can see the soil in there is quite dry, and it has gotten a bit curly in the leaves and a little bit wilty and kind of generally droopy, that's totally okay. At this point is when I would water the plant and it should bounce back to life. If you're noticing droopy leaves and wet soil, it's probably more likely a sign of overwatering. Just beware, wilting leaves, have a look at the soil, see what it needs. Also, yellowing leaves can be a sign of overwatering as well. Some, every now and then, a yellow leaf, fine, that's like normal for plants to shed leaves. But if you're getting a lot of yellowing leaves, that's probably a sign that you're overwatering, so look out for that. Light-wise, Philodendron Hederaceum's ideal is nice, bright, indirect light, though they can tolerate a lot lower. That is one of the reasons that they are really easy and good kind of general all-around plant for pretty much anyone, that they would make really good gifts because they don't need all that much special lighting. I personally don't keep mine in very bright spots just because I have so many other plants that like really need the bright light that I give these more of a back burner, I guess. And that's not a problem at all. They're still growing fine. They just grow a little bit slower and they can grow more leggy than if they were in a place that were brighter. Also, they don't like direct sun. Too much of it can burn their leaves and not ideal. So just try to avoid prolonged exposure to direct sun. So since I have 4 different types, they're kind of scattered throughout my house. This one here, I keep probably about 3.5 meters or maybe 10 feet or so away from a northeast window. So it's getting low to medium light most of the day. Of course, it depends on how sunny it is outside. Today, it's a fairly bright day, so it's getting more medium light, but on cloudy days, which there are so many here in London, it is getting a bit more low light, which is totally okay for it as well. My plain heart leaf, I have hanging in my bathroom in my shower. I moved it there after it got thrips and it needed a place to live that wasn't next to my other plants. And so it lives down there, and hence why it's a bit curly, because I do forget to water it a bit more than the others because it's not around the rest of my plants. But I'll give it a little bit of water later and it'll be fine. But my bathroom has like no light. It has one tiny window that gets absolutely no direct light on it, and so it's just, this is a low light plant. This one lives in low light. And then my other 2, the Mycans and the Lemon Lime, they are both in my macrame plant hanger, which I made a video about, which I'll post up here. But those are probably 4 meters or 12 feet or so away from southwest facing windows, and those get medium to bright indirect light all day. I don't think they really ever get direct sunlight just because they're like across the room from the windows, but they do get quite bright light, especially when it is sunny outside. They get nice bright light. Ideal temperatures for these ones are between 18 and 27 degrees Celsius or 65 to 80 degrees Fahrenheit, which is like pretty normal household temperatures. They should be fine if you're fine in your house. Ideally, don't let the temperature drop below 13 degrees Celsius or 55 degrees Fahrenheit. They won't be very happy. They'll stop growth and they can even die if they're in that for too long. They can summer outdoors if you live in a country where it's warm enough to do so, but if it drops below 13 Celsius or 55 Fahrenheit at night, do bring them in, or if it doesn't, bring them in before it gets cold again come autumn and winter. Also, they don't like drafts of hot or cold air, so keep them away from air vents, freezing windows, and really hot radiators. They don't want to touch that or anything like that. So avoid drafts if possible. They do prefer medium to high humidity, probably above 40%, which in my home isn't a problem at all. I think everywhere in my house, it's almost always above 50%. I think just because I have so many plants, it stays quite humid. I do also boost the humidity in the living room, which is where the philodendron and the lemon lime live. That room is usually like 65% humidity, maybe 70 if I'm feeling generous with the humidifier. So I think they like that quite a lot. The heartleaf, which lives in my bathroom, obviously gets loads of humidity from daily showers, so it's loving that. I think that's probably the reason why it's actually okay living down there in such a dark hole of a room. But yeah, it really likes that. This one lives in the office slash this room, my studio, and I don't give it any extra humidity in here. If your home isn't humid enough and you don't have them in like the bathroom or kitchen, or you don't have a humidifier, you could supplement the humidity by giving them like daily mistings, or set them on a pebble tray, or even group them with other plants, because that boosts the humidity as well. So there are ways to give them the humidity that they want other than having a humidifier. When it comes to soil, well draining is a must. They really, really need well draining soil. It doesn't need to be too rich, so like average potting soil should be okay. If your potting mix tends to be quite dense, it may be good to add a little bit of something to give more drainage, like perlite or pumice, but it should be fine. They're not too picky when it comes to soil. One thing they really do need, however, is a pot with drainage holes. Drainage holes are super duper important. I have mine in its nursery pot and also with this cash pot, and it really likes that. I keep all of my plants like that and they love them. Depending on your conditions and how fast your plants grow, you probably might need to repot it every year or two. They don't like being particularly root bound, but also you don't want to increase their pot size too much when you do repot. Really, you should only be upping it like one size, which is an extra 2 inches or 5 centimeters or so bigger. So you don't want to give them too much space because they'll just like drown in too much moisture of the soil. So better to just go up one size. Propagation of these is so easy. I've taken so many cuttings of my Philodendron Hederaceums. It's just the simplest thing. All you have to do is you want to make sure you're cutting just below a node on the plant, and probably about 2 to 4 leaves, because that gives it the best chance of success. Cut just below a node, chuck it in some water. I like to water propagate because I like to see the roots, and then after like 2 weeks to a month or so, you should start seeing roots. Once the roots are maybe like an inch or two, like 2 to 5 centimeters, chuck it either back into the pot of its mother plant, so you can like make a fuller plant, or you can pot it up in its own pot and have another plant or a gift for a friend or something like that. Fertilizing these is pretty standard. They like being fertilized like once a month in spring and summer, and not at all in autumn and winter. I personally fertilize with liquid gold leaf fertilizer, which I really like, and I think my plants really like it as well. It's just good to give it some extra nutrients to help boost growth, especially during growing season. So yeah, fertilize once a month or so. One of the only downsides to these beauties is that unfortunately they are toxic to humans and pets. If ingested, they can cause like irritation and bad gut stuff. So don't eat your plants, don't let your pets eat your plants, don't let your kids eat your plants. No plant eating for your houseplants. So just don't, and you'll be fine. So that is it. That is all you need to know in order to take care of your Philodendron Hederaceums. They are honestly one of the easiest plants in my collection, and I absolutely love them. So I would totally suggest these for any sort of new plant parent or an old plant parent or anyone. Even if they're not a plant parent, they could probably take care of these. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching. If you like this video, please do give it a thumbs up down below and leave a comment on other houseplant things you would like me to talk about in the future. And thanks so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye! I feel like The Rock with this like turtleneck and chain situation. I'm here for it, but like, I feel like The Rock. Do I look like The Rock?